Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's podcast. This episode is brought to you by Cardio Club and Weightlifting Club, both sponsored every Sunday from 9 to 10:30. We get on the cardio machines, lift the weights, two separate clubs if you like to lift and don't like to be out of breath, or if you like to be out of breath and not lift weights, either for you. One something that we talked about a lot in Barbell Club today, and something that we try to incorporate is kind of lumping a lot of the cues together. So oftentimes when you're setting up for a complicated lift or setting up for learning a new technique, once you get comfortable at doing something and you kind of learn what your body wants to do, especially in the setup, try to lump a lot of those together and just make it one cue. So instead of left hand on the bar, right hand on the bar, set my spine, lift my head, push my knees out, lift, you try to remember what that cue is of all of those things, like what that tight position is, and then whatever word or symbol or color you want to think of to make that set happen. Then hold on, bringing Shannon in. Then it can just all be one cue, and then you can just think. We're recording right now, Shannon.
I could see
It,
that. You started without me. It's
she's
absolutely bananas.
it's really loud in here in the hallway. Uh,
Oh,
the
really?
There goes the train of thought. Once you have all of those set positions, and then you can just make it one cue, there's so much less mind chatter, and there's fewer opportunities to mess it up. So instead of oh, wait, I forgot to brace my core. When it's all one just set position and then you can go, it kind of frees your mind up and just kind of allows just that one cue. Whether it doesn't even have to be like a specific sound or a specific cue, it can just be a feeling or like an emotion, and then you go. And so that's what I would recommend if you're starting to lift and your mind has a lot going on. And this can happen in a lot of things, but most often like weightlifting, deadlifting, things like that. You want that set to be position to be one cue, one everything tight. And then if a coach comes over and gives you a new cue and then you fix it, just incorporate that into the cue. All right. All right.
Great stuff.
Yeah. All right. Shannon, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just trying to see if I can change my microphone.
Well, it's loads better than when you first jumped on.
Than it was before? Yeah. Well,
It's crystal clear.
okay. We're okay. Everything's fine.
Oh, I think it's great. I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay. Yeah. I put a blanket down behind me. I had to get rid of the rug that was in here because my cat peed on it and it's disgusting. So
Yeah.
we got rid of that.
Another point for dogs. Mm.
Hey, don't beat my cat while he's down, man. He's having a bad time. Anyway.
Check this out. I already loaded the
boys.
baby tracker on my phone because we got one coming in February, January. Who knows?
I saw your wife today. She's so freaking cute.
Yeah, you guys talked a long time. I went to Dover, cheered on Brittany in the competition, said hi to some people, came back, called her, and was like, "Hey, where you at?" She's like, "Just leaving the gym." Got talking to Shannon.
We got going. Her and I can we should have a podcast actually. It would be well, listen.
She can be on the flow podcast when you guys all talk about like cycles and grip strength and energy.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have a baby on Groundhog's Day. That way, when you celebrate Groundhog's Day, you could also have a birthday party.
I like it. Okay, we're talking about supplements. Main overview of this podcast. It'll be a little quick. We're going supplements, then we're going Drew's trip to Texas, some of the high points, and then some questions that Shannon's got baked up for us. And I'm feeling feisty right now. I'm just ready to answer stuff and completely disagree with Drew. We're trying new feedback. Shannon told me I need to smile when I talk. Instead, I say nay, and I'm wincing, but I'm still bringing more energy. So
it's not about facial gestures. It's about bringing personality
It doesn't matter.
Your
People
voice.
People
I'm
know.
gonna have
People know
smiley
I'm grimacing
voice.
right now by the way that, and they can't even see my face. Anyway, creatine. Who's on it? Everyone should be on it, right,
I'm
Drew?
not.
I'm going to jump into Texas now, and then we can jump into Texas later. I had a conversation with a variety of weightlifting gentlemen. And I asked them, I said, hey, I'm going to be doing this podcast on supplements, and I want to know your take on it. Now, we had to establish, and I think it's important to establish an operational definition of
Excellent.
supplementation.
Oh, okay.
So I think we got to do that first. And I'm going to throw it out there and just say that it's you're taking something that your body needs because you are not getting it nutritionally.
Indeed.
Or you're trying to increase the amount that your body stores.
Thank you.
The amount that your body stores.
The amount that your body stores. So some people don't need more protein or need more creatine. They can be used as supplementation to increase something. So, maybe I'm getting caught up on the word need, but like to maybe need to elicit a specific response, a desired response.
I feel like that puts us on a slippery slope, but fine.
Listen, if we're already getting into the weeds here and disagreeing, we're going to have a long-ass episode.
Listen, Shannon, the whole point of a conversation or a paper like this is you just spend weeks on the thesis statement, and then the rest of it just writes itself. So we need to establish these. So it's like something that your body isn't getting or not getting enough of that you're going to start to incorporate into your life to fill the hole or to try to build a bigger surplus to elicit a desired response. Do we agree?
Yeah, that would also.
Hold on. Drew's trying to disagree with me.
Okay, go ahead, Drew.
No, you go ahead, Shannon. I'm going to disagree with the both of you.
We need to supplement Drew's internet.
I know something's going on, Drew. Listen, I would agree that it's supplementary to like your nutrition. You're not getting enough of it. You're not getting enough of it in your environment. Like I don't see the sun, so I should probably take a vitamin D supplement maybe. But there's also the like performance enhancement. Would that be a supplement? No.
I think
like if you were taking something to make you better unnaturally.
Yeah, I think under this, that's what we would be.
We would call that a supplement.
Yeah, like if I were taking like testosterone replacement therapy, I could say I was supplementing.
So you guys want to know about my steroids?
Yeah. Well, you do take steroids, but I'm sorry.
How do you get this?
I assumed, but I'm assuming that you do take steroids. Do you?
I do not actually. It's unbelievable. It's all genetics.
And you just use natural family planning?
Oh, you mean like birth control?
No, I mean like estrogen.
Yeah, I don't take any birth control.
Oh, damn. See? There's the assumption. All right.
I did for over 12 years.
No IUD with hormones?
Nope, I don't have anything. I'm
just
I'm,
natural. You and the Lord.
Freewheeling it.
It's just you and the Lord.
This is going to be the last episode before it's like Shannon's no longer able to continue with this podcast.
So speaking of that, Shannon, I have this app. It's called the Baby Tracker app. It's actually really good. And then you can put in like the due date and stuff. Congratulations. All right.
I love how you tried to catch me with the steroids. He's trying to catch me as if I don't know that's hormone therapy.
I was wrong, and I made an assumption.
And you assumed wrong. And I have an app called Flow.
Ew.
She's a good friend of mine.
Word. All right, let's talk about creatine that Drew was talking about with his weightlifter Texan.
I did not get a chance.
He still has to disagree with both of us.
You definition, and we can allow your definition. I'm not going to change your mind on your definition, which is fine. But the minute that you add in the or, I'm going to improve myself, you're opening up the gateway for performance enhancing drugs.
Drew, I'm gonna need
Things
you
are
to
not
move to a
good.
different spot in the house.
Things are not good.
It's that bad?
It's
It's
pretty
that bad?
It's every
we
fifth
don't know what
word.
you're saying.
It may come out all right in the recording, but right now, like, you're not even a steady picture.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
you're looking ratchet.
I'll be back.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree when no one can. Oh, all right.
All right. Well, so Drew will be completely uncomfortable with any conversation about female contraception, I think. So.
Why? Okay, then we don't have to talk about it, but
Only while he's gone.
only while
These are usually the things that make him blush.
All right. Well, what do you take? Do you have a multivitamin?
I don't have a multivitamin.
Like a prenatal?
No. Oh, no. Jesus Christ, Elliot.
Do you have a latex allergy?
No. Oh my God, you are killing me right now.
These are just questions.
Now I'm the one
Just,
blushing.
hey, I'm not inferring anything. These are just questions.
No, I was on the pill for like 12 years, and I took
You
a
were on
break from
steroids
it.
for 12 years.
Yeah, I was on a very low dose estrogen progestin combination or progesterone, whatever
probably.
it is.
Yeah.
Combo pill, lowest dose you can get, and I came off of it inadvertently for like a couple of weeks.
Pause.
I had an issue.
When I went to UNH and we did the Making Babies class.
You took that too? I love that.
It's funny that everyone says like, "Oh, I'm on a low dose birth control." I think it's just a regular dose. But what happened is when the birth control, did they talk to you about this? When they first started using
it was like crazy.
It was like,
crazy
hey,
amounts.
we need to drive this thumbtack into the wall. And they're like, well, I have this 20-pound sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Wham. And they used to just give you like 10 times, not you, but like they were just like, yeah. This is totally legit. It works. And then it was just.
No, yeah. I was on what was probably a more normal dose or like traditional, what you would just get, and for a long time. And I had some pretty good side effects. So I did over time get put on like lower ones. But I think that they just are getting lower. You're right. Like they are just lowering the threshold.
Did you find any different feelings more or less feelings towards Michael when you were on or off? Did you, because how sometimes people are like attracted to one thing because your hormones are slightly different, and then you go on or off the pill, and then your partner's like, you smell different?
I will say it benefited him significantly, me coming off the pill. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. But I just noticed like a bunch of just kind of side effects. And then when I came off of it for 2 weeks inadvertently, I was like, I just don't want to go back on it. So we are doing other things. So yeah, I'm happy with that. It's been weird to have a cycle after like 12 years of not having a cycle. Like I feel like I'm a real adult woman now.
Yeah, I haven't had one either. Drew, go ahead.
By jumping back in to disagree.
Yeah, you're getting.
Yeah,
We just completely covered birth control.
You're talking about lady parts, just us girls, and we just getting some stuff in.
Anyways, the reason why I disagree with the definition is because it's going, and I know you're doing this just to bait me. I feel that you would probably, if we were in a different setting, maybe if you were a different person, you would do my previous definition where it's just entirely nutritional, what you are not getting. Trying to get me fired because we're going to end up talking about illegal substances trying to get me to do performance enhancing things, which is his little, or it's all this nutritional stuff Drew said at the beginning, which is probably spot on, or we're going to add in this other thing. We can do that. We can go there. I'm going to I'm differing from the onset.
Drew, one, I don't think you move locations, and two, I'm living in your head rent free on this argument because that was not my intention.
Yeah, I have to agree wholeheartedly with Elliot on that one.
Also, with a location, can't hear me now.
It's just like
choppy robotic
on video and totally just have it like listening to this as just a listener, listening to your audio, I think will be annoying.
Jesus. Fine. I'll go somewhere else.
Okay, so apparently you and Drew are going to go down the rabbit hole of illegal drugs.
No, I
You're
wasn't
trying
going
to get
but
him to
he
do
was ready to. He wanted to go in on all this stuff. All right, and then
Do you want to know what I have for supplements? This is the only things that I take that I would consider supplements and not
okay,
part of
go
my
ahead.
nutrition.
Yes, please.
Number one is whey protein. If
From
we're drinking
Optimum
it,
Nutrition.
we just switched to this Pro Gym chocolate mousse flavor. It's all right. I really prefer the gold standard Optimum Nutrition.
I can't believe you're
This
shouting these
is
products out like that.
this kind vanilla ice cream flavor. Terrible to drink, amazing to bake into things. So
Okay.
I put this in baked goods, but I don't drink it. The chocolate I'll drink with almond milk. And almond milk only, because if you drink it with water, you're a serial killer. Then this,
Wait, if you drink protein shakes with water, you're a serial killer?
or just something's not right. It's so gross to me. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is it too much of a generalization for you? Okay. Drew, welcome back. Your audio and your video's not looking promising. I'm going to say that right off the bat.
How about the audio?
It does seem a little better, perhaps.
Does seem a little better.
Okay.
I hope.
All right.
All right. I just explained that I use whey protein, and I'm now giving my exhaustive list, which is number 2 item, caffeine.
Yeah.
Those are the only
All right.
supplements.
All right, Drew. Can you go ahead and tell me why you're wrong or why I'm going to try to bait you into being wrong?
I think it just opened up. Is it bad?
It's
Is
bad.
the audio bad?
Yeah.
Well, it is bad, yeah. We're fighting with
Why?
this.
What's the deal today? Is it because you're on your iPad?
No, I switched to my computer.
What if you shut off your video?
We have like one more opportunity to fix this, and then everyone's going to be like, listen, that whole podcast was just you and Drew.
I mean, so far, our like trying to pull like a common thread through this has not been good. The common thread is Drew's audio.
Yes.
What about now?
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Yeah, I think we're on track.
Crystal clear. Okay.
Anyways. I just have to say I really don't like Shannon's corporate lingo. We're on track and all that stuff. Like that's such like a Zoom. That's Zoom talk. It's making me feel nauseous. It's making me feel nauseous.
This is why we have to do this in person, because it's a lot easier to be mean on video. Okay, so you need to chill.
Nauseous. All right, Drew, go ahead.
Oh, anyways, so I was talking to these guys from Texas, and they were big into the weightlifting scene, and I thought about this podcast, and they said the only things that you really need, if you're just a regular old athlete, creatine and whey protein.
All right.
And we had a couple of side conversations about caffeine pills, and then people getting into pre-workout stuff.
Pre-workout, yeah.
That was interesting.
Which is kind of caffeine.
Which is caffeine, yeah.
And beta alanine.
I don't know a lot about workout because I don't use it personally, but they were getting into, clearly had way more information than I did. But they were talking about how there were certain pre-workouts, and I think where maybe in prior episodes we had talked about like CrossFit athletes getting busted for doping and stuff that were basically like had too much meth in it.
Too much meth?
No, CrossFit athletes were getting, I mean, maybe like way back in the day, but almost all of the things that are getting popped, they're either doing precursors to testosterone or testosterone.
Okay.
There were people like in the military and stuff getting popped for like things like Jack 3D because it had a few too many methyl groups in it that were like more amphetamine-y, which I actually have experience taking the Jack 3D that was like banned and they had to remove a thing on deployment. They were like, man, this makes me, their words, not mine, feel like a crack baby, and I haven't been able to sleep. And I was like, yeah, it's definitely really strong, and the workouts and the focus are insane. It feels like I'm on meth, even though I hadn't done meth ever. I was like, if I were to guess, this is exactly what meth feels like. And, that's what it was. You were just in it. Like, all I wanna do is work out for the next 2 hours, like, just reps on reps on reps on reps, and then every once in a while, just wait and then start doing reps again. I would agree with that list. I like some of the stuff that they're doing with beta-alanine with the testing, and then also HMB. I read a study that they did on UFC fighters for, like, that more short burst intervals style stuff that HMB can have a favorable adaptation, but, protein is one of those things where it's only beneficial if you need it because, like, ideally, you're, like, eating chicken or steak or fish or something like that to get your protein. And then so far, the only thing that I would say that almost everyone I would be comfortable with recommending that they would take creatine or some type of protein supplementation, but then also like a fish oil, especially if you're not someone who eats fish, just getting those omega 3s and taking down that um, like inflammation. You probably have an excessive amount of omega 6s if you're just doing like normal dieting and like having some cheat meals every once in a while. You probably have excess omega 6 with if you're having any processed food. But then if you need some anti-inflammatory properties, then and you're not eating a lot of fish, omega 3s are great for that.
Can we circle back to the workout though? Because I feel like, well, if I was listening to this, Drew has no clue about any supplements really. I mean, if we're being honest.
Okay.
Right. And Shannon, I'm assuming like you're kind of like, I don't know, kind of like creatine, great, protein, great. But in your view, Elliot, do you think that people should be consistently using pre-workout supplementation?
Like pre-workout, like the Jack 3D type stuff or like the No Explode or the C4 type stuff?
Yeah, what like is that something that I mean, I don't like I say I don't have any experience with it, but some people are like, "Oh, I've got this great pre-workout and what's
Drew, just have a cup of coffee. Like
Yeah,
I have plenty of
that's all
coffee.
it is. It's just caffeine, It's all I mean, it has some other stuff, maybe some
it has a lot of
BCAAs or
other stuff in
something.
it. But so what the deal is, I think a lot of times people are taking the pre-workout and being like, "This has a lot of awesome stuff and I feel great." But the reality is they're probably just getting most of that high that they're feeling from the caffeine, that alertness, and also not necessarily like a full-on placebo effect, but more of like a psychological like, "Oh, I just took pre-workout, so I'm about to be amped." So then I'm amped.
Mm.
But there are, like, some, non-caffeinated pre-workout, but, some of the pre-workouts have, like, vasodilating properties, which aren't necessarily good when you're trying to do, like, heavy weightlifting and a bunch of reps. You can have, like, a feeling of, like, a lower blood pressure if your veins are a little bit too dilated, and your blood pressure goes down. But, I think
Oh, all right, so we covered it. We covered it. There's your answer. All right, let
I
me
didn't
ask you
know
this.
that pre-workout had more stuff in it. I legit thought it was
there's
just like
so much stuff.
condensed
It's not just ca
caffeine. I
if I were
thought
to
it
re
was just like power caffeine.
No, it's the same. I mean, it's probably like
It
2
probably depends
some
on the
have
brand.
2 to 300 milligrams of caffeine, and then there's, like, beta-alanine, which makes you, a little bit itchy. It feels like all your capillary beds are just, like, very quickly dilating.
So
That can
what's
have
that like?
some
It just makes you want to move? Is that like kind of the
No,
premise
it
of
helps.
that, or?
So far, it seems like it kinda gives you that, more endurance
Hmm.
throughout the workout, more work capacity, similar to creatine, but creatine's more of, like, the short I just need to lift this really heavy in the next 15 seconds. And then beta alanine is more like the, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes and beyond of like everything's already all primed up.
Okay, so we got fish oil, creatine, and protein if you need it. Let me ask you this question, Shannon.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about collagen?
I've never really gone there. I think it has protein in it, right? So I think it's kind of similar to protein, but I don't have a lot of education on it. I try to not buy stuff like, I don't know. There's just, because of my like anti-diet time that we've gone through before and don't need to rehash, I think it's also like a lot of anti-supplement. Like I've done a lot of those things where it's like, oh, like 30-day cleanse and you take these pills and you drink this tea. And not that collagen is necessarily that extreme, but I just kind of veto a lot of supplementation in general because it's so hard to weed through what's real and what's quality and what's not. So I
would,
just focus mostly on my nutrition, to be honest.
which is huge. I would say that this is typically what happened, and it's similar to the gear one the podcast that we had, where in the beginning it was like, let's just add all of the supplements, and sometimes people buy the best supplements and get the best stack, as they would call it. They go to GNC and spend like $250, and then they go home and eat just like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and drink protein shakes and be like, yeah, but I got the best pre-workout. Whereas now we're, in a much better state where people are like, actually, I'd like to put all that time and effort into like regular real food, and then if I need something, then supplement with it, which I should have said from the very beginning. You really shouldn't just add a supplement unless you know for sure that it's a deficiency, because sometimes someone could be like, oh man, I started taking vitamin D supplementation and I feel so much better. And then somebody that works outside all day was like, oh, well, I'm tired. And then they're like, oh,
Right.
well, you should take vitamin D. And it's like, it can definitely help. And since
It's like, no, you need iron. Yeah.
it's like a fat soluble thing. So you don't want to just keep taking it. So like do a blood panel if you're going to start just like blasting yourself with like fat soluble vitamins that you're just like, yeah, but it can't hurt. But it's like, no, it
It
can.
totally can hurt.
Like
Yeah.
vitamin C, since it's water soluble, it's probably not that big a deal, but DEAK.
EDAK. Yeah.
And
EDAK.
and so, most of the time it's not that big of a deal because the dosages and everything in the vitamins aren't usually that bad. But like, it's like, just because a supplement works really well for somebody doesn't mean that it's going to be super beneficial.
What about greens? What about your greens powder?
Oh, because I drink green powder every once in a while, probably like once every 3 weeks, because I'm like, oh shit, I have it in the cabinet.
I'm not like saying like, what about your green powder? Like, loser. I'm
but I
thinking
think
like,
it's similar to
what
like,
is it? Is it
but
useful?
if you're like eating vegetable, I mean, it's the same thing as like a multivitamin that has all those minerals and stuff in there, that it's just like, if I'm
just like
already
sans,
getting
like,
that,
fiber or anything. Yeah.
if I'm getting that through all of that food, then it's like I'm just kind of buying greens powder that I wouldn't normally eat. If I had like a really strict diet and I wasn't introducing myself to any of that stuff just because I was like, well, I can't eat that much, or I'm not putting that variety, then I'm not gonna, I don't need to put that, in my body.
Right. Okay. I mean, that's it for me on supplements. Like, I don't really have any other sort of opinions. If you guys are going to go into like, if you guys have like more serious supplements you want to talk about.
Well, Drew blood dopes all the time, so.
No, you don't, Drew.
I don't blood dope.
Is that supplementation though?
Are you on or off
No,
cycle right now, Drew?
That was my point in the beginning, was that
if I spit into a cup and then later drink it, is that supplementation? Shannon.
That's just weird.
No. Whoa. We don't call people that around here, all right?
That's a serial killer.
No, just answer the question, Shannon.
No.
It's not
that's
supplementation.
Just vile behavior. No.
Perfect. What if I take just like a little bit of my blood out of my body and refrigerate it and then just later put it back in? Is that supplementation?
Is that okay? Before I answer this question, is that something that someone does? Like, is that like blood?
I'm just
cycling?
asking.
I don't know. Is that even? I don't think so. No.
That wouldn't be supplementation?
No. Oh, well, unless like, what are you supplementing your blood with? Something?
It's all my blood. And
like,
I put it in the refrigerator.
Is it getting something from being in the refrigerator? Like, is it getting?
No, it's getting cold.
Okay, then no. It's just your blood.
All right.
Is it legal?
Would you call it
if
if I did it?
Is that a thing?
Hold on.
Yes.
Would you consider it legal?
You're just doing it by yourself in your
I
house?
literally just take the blood. I take a syringe and I pull blood out of my
So you
body,
do
and then I
a
put it in a
blood
bag,
draw.
and the bag just moves back and forth to stop it from coagulating or whatever. And then, like, a week later, I put it back in, and then I go do a competition. Is that okay?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
I
because
think
it's all
so.
me, right?
I mean, yeah.
All right.
That sounds so. I'm like such a needlephobe. That sounds like fucking torture to me. So yeah, that's fine with me.
What do you think, Drew?
Ah!
So that's called blood doping.
Like that's like
But
actually a thing.
Oh, it's totally a thing.
It's cheating.
And it's
Yeah,
like
you're
what
not
to
allowed to
like
do
make
it.
you have like more blood in your body, so you're like
Yeah,
red.
more red blood
It-
cells. You can carry more oxygen. You're like you can perform.
But it's your blood.
Yes.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well,
But
WADA has a big problem with it.
you're reoxygenating your blood so that you can perform better. Like when you're really tired and your red blood cell count is low, you take this blood that you've stored in your refrigerator and you reinsert it back into your body so that you're
it's your blood.
so
It's
what?
your blood. It's from your body. Okay, then I go and I fuck up my muscles working out all day, and then I go and I recover and I build up more of those muscles. Are you gonna say that like I'm doping my muscles? It's just how your body works. It's blood.
But this is not like a common practice. This is an identified way of how am I going to cheat the system so that I can improve my performance. And this is what I was getting at
I'm
at the
not saying
beginning.
you should be commonplace. I'm just saying you're taking your body and supplementing it with your body. It's like, okay, how about this then, Drew? If I had a baby and I had the placenta dried and put into capsules, is that
Ooh, good
supplementation?
point.
What do you do? What is the purpose?
It has all sorts of crazy nutrients in it.
Yeah,
It's gonna make me an absolute animal.
I know that people have
Should that be
eaten the
illegal?
placenta.
Should that be illegal?
I bit Lucas's umbilical cord like this.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. That's right.
You sauteed it or you grilled it.
A little bit of butter. All right, one more thing that I'll have to say about supplements, because this is just getting off the rails, and we're just being asses. Yeah. So one thing I would say is a lot of times in the supplement world, a lot of it is marketing and a lot of it does not apply to you, because there's this stuff called diaspark acid, and it will say it's just like a little supplement thing that you can be like, oh, I can take this, and there's a study that it shows that it boosts testosterone. And you're like, well, that's cool. So I can just like naturally just take this supplement that's in other foods and stuff, and it's not crazy or illegal or anything. You can just take diaspark acid, and it's supposed to raise your testosterone. But then if you go on the internets and you look up the study, they only did the test on sedentary males, and then they had a 20, let's say I'm making this number up, but it was like a 20% increase in testosterone. But then in active males that lifted weights, it actually decreased their testosterone in that study. And then there was another study where there was like no change in active males, but inactive males. So it's like, yeah, you can increase your testosterone taking diaspark acid if you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of that, and that's why creatine is so strongly recommended, because there are so many different studies and it all shows favorable, and all of the like negative things that you may hear are all like, oh, well, that makes sense. Like they took a bunch of people that had renal disease and then they had them supplement with a bunch of creatine, and then at the end they showed that they had uh like damaged kidneys. And it's like, yes, if you have renal disease or a history of it and you take creatine and exercise vigorously, which exercise, like stresses the kidneys out, then yes, it's going to like cause more stress. And then like the compartment syndrome one, the guy, I think it was a guy, was taking like 25 or 30 grams of creatine every single day for like 6 months when the
Yeah, it's like
recommended is
crazy.
5. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, if you take 5 times the recommended dose, like if you take 5 times the recommended dose of water, you're gonna die. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like 5 gallons. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
All right. That's all I've got. That's for sure.
Ask a question. I don't
Oh,
want to
you
hear about
wanted-
Texas. I do. I kind of want to. Well,
Yeah.
What was Texas all about?
Well, I brought up I already made up my Texas connection with the creatine and the protein thing.
weightlifters.
I went there for a wedding, and I went there by myself, and it was I'll let's just say this: I prefer the Northeast.
Okay.
There are seasons. The trees were still green there. I was worried about getting bitten by a snake the entire time.
Did you drop in
The
at any
Northeast is
CrossFit
better.
gyms?
No, there was a gym facility where I was staying, so I just did my own workouts there for free.
did you see the 4-6s or whatever in Yellowstone where they do the horses and the cowboys and stuff?
Again, that's Yellowstone. I'm not on my peripherals at all, and I did not get Elliot a hat, even though he wanted me to
I
buy
asked him for a Stetson, a $600 Stetson, but
They didn't have a hat shop. I didn't even pass anything like that. I just passed a bunch of bars the entire time. So
how about a belt buckle? All
no,
right,
I got
Shannon,
nothing.
ask us some vicious questions.
Okay, I got.
But I want you to
thing.
ask that question that you said Drew wouldn't answer. What was that?
I don't know. I took one out that I don't know what it was. I forget,
Okay.
but I remember it being like very polarizing. But there's a
polarizing.
lot in here. There's
All right.
there's some stuff in here.
Drew, you better answer because your picture's not on the screen.
Yeah. So
Yeah, fine.
you're an
Yes,
anonymous
he's
man.
in.
Okay. Well, this one's pretty light. Let's just start this one. These are called Table Topics Tell It Like It Is. That's what this is. So these are just some really solid questions. Would you eat only rice and vegetables the rest of your life if it meant not one person would go hungry? Drew.
Yes,
You would.
of course I would. Absolutely. Sign me
Only
up.
rice and vegetables.
Sign me up.
Okay.
No, I would.
Elliot?
Hunger is the best spice.
I would very much want to, but I don't think that I like if I was ever tempted by anything and people were like, everyone in the world will go hungry if you eat this thing, I probably would fail, I do think.
I'll circle back to Texas on this one. I had a great meal on Wednesday night at a restaurant that was only vegetables and rice, and it was delicious. And I would, if I could eat that every day, I'd be all set.
No creatine?
No
No
creatine.
blood doping?
No
All right, I
blood
got one.
doping.
I got one. Drew, what would you do if you saw your neighbor blatantly overusing water during a drought?
Ooh. Blatantly overusing water. Okay. During a drought. If I'm being honest, I would shake my head, make some snarky comment to my wife, and then keep on driving. I've seen it before. Not my direct neighbor, but on my road.
So you wouldn't dime anybody out. What if it was like bad? Like every day they're like filling up a pool, dumping the pool out, doing, and you're like, dude, like you are the problem.
They're like, they got like the sprinklers going on their grass, dude.
Yeah. Well, if it was bad, I would like to think that I would say something, or I would report it to somebody. There was a whole thing where a bunch of celebrities got fined for out in California for overusing water during this past year, during certain water bans. They fined like $50,000. I don't know what it was, but you can look it up. It's interesting. So someone reported them.
Okay, Elliot, would you continue buying your favorite brand of clothing if you learned that child labor was used to make it?
Like my Nike Metcons? or like my iPhone.
Yeah. This is just brand of clothing.
These are easy.
The answer is a yes from Elliot. He has
I
no problem
just bought
sleeping at
Lucas
night.
Nike shoes. We all know, right? We all know that this is child labor.
Everybody knows.
I guess that's. I didn't like. I would have assumed, I guess, but I don't know. I'm not surprised. I should say I'm not surprised if that's fact.
I'm not buying it like, yeah, more labor for these kids, but it's like, yeah.
But if it's not like, if it's not the child labor,
the way of the world.
If it's not child labor, like the iPhone practices in factories in China in different areas, like the environmental implications of some of those places are ridiculous. So we're choosing to partake in many of these ventures and, kind of turning a blind eye to all of the different
I would rather pay
ills.
more and there not be child labor. Like if they were like, hey, would you pay another 30 to 40% for your clothing and phones if it meant that the child labor was no longer like if Apple was like, hey, you can buy this child labor free iPhone or the regular iPhone.
Oh my god! Can you imagine? Like,
I would buy the
so much
$1,500 iPhone.
I feel so much guilt at the grocery store when they're like, "Would you like to donate your leftover change to St.
No,
Jude?"
no,
And I'm like,
absolutely
today,
not.
not another
No,
49
if
cents.
you feel guilty, mail a check to St. Jude because all they're doing is taking all that money and being like, look how much we donated.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
I know.
put your name on the list.
Yeah, you're right. But like,
I
can you
always round
imagine
up.
going to the iPhone site and it's because it would be a steep ass discount.
Would you like to
It'd be
round up
like
to $2,000?
Yeah. Would you like to pay the additional $500 to prevent children from working on your phone?
I'd have been
your
like-
mouse, you're like, oh. Oh goodness. Okay, Drew, this is going for you.
Meanwhile, Shannon's trying to get her student loans forgiven.
Oh my god, you're unreal.
She's like, save these kids, and I want 10 grand, Uncle Joe.
That's right. Would you tell your neighbors that their teenager had a wild party?
Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would,
I have
Drew?
of course.
Oh,
I have such a problem with misbehaved children.
with fun. You don't like fun.
We went to Waterville Valley this past weekend and we got onto the elevator and there were a bunch of hockey kids on the elevator.
Hockey kids are
and
the worst.
I don't disagree with you. And they get off the elevator and they say, "Oh, someone that was already on the elevator pressed all the buttons on the elevator." So it's like, so we're like, yeah, oh, okay, sure. And we got on the elevator and sure enough, they were all pressed. And I was like, I looked to my wife, I was like, that comment doesn't even make sense because if someone else did that and it wasn't them, then they wouldn't still all be pressed. Well, believe it or not, they got back onto the elevator after we had gone up and then gone back down to the floor we were on. And they all came back on and I looked at them and I said, so, you guys really pressed the buttons on the elevator, didn't you? And they were like, no, we didn't. And I said, because it's kind of impossible that would have worked out the way it did. They were very scared. I thought it was great. So
you got them, Drew.
In summation, yes, I would dime those kids out in a second.
Try to put your camera back on. See if we can get you for the last couple minutes. Oh, looking good. All right. Another question.
You want another question?
I can give you a question.
Oh, give me one.
Oh, I have one.
Hard one. Can we get like one that?
Have you ever stolen anything?
That's it.
Yes.
Explain it. You have?
Just one thing, and it was on a
Explain.
dare. It was on a dare because I never stole anything in my life. And then my wife was like, "You've never stolen anything in your life." So I went to we were at a restaurant, and we pulled into the parking lot.
Oh, this is like an adult.
You're like a full-grown adult.
Oh yeah, this is like 5 years ago.
Meanwhile, you're narking on a kid having fun.
And I stole a potted rosemary plant. I think it was rosemary or lemon thyme. They had them out on display, and I took one. It was small. It was from a restaurant. It was fine.
Oh my gosh, Drew! I'm telling on you.
Let me ask you this question.
Drew, you stole a plant? That's what you're confessing?
Wait, I want to know what Elliot has stolen.
This is all kid stuff. The one time
only as a child, you've only stolen as a child.
I think so. I mean, I'm trying to think if I
stole as an adult.
Okay, you go. I'm gonna try to really think because I don't want to say no.
I'm going to say this very quickly. When my husband and I went to Ireland on vacation, we went to this place called Bunratty Castle that does like medieval dinners, and my stepmom had gone there 20 years prior. Total tourist trap. She suggested that we go to it, and she has a little like goblet that they serve mead in, and she keeps toothpicks in it, and she said, "I really want a matching pair. Can you get me another one?" And so when we went to Ireland, the entire object of the dinner was to obtain the second.
Did you ask for one?
No, I put it in my pocket.
Should have just asked.
This is
No,
the
you could
closest.
definitely tell they probably were stolen a lot because the one that my aunt or my stepmom had from 20 years prior was extremely nicer than the one that I got.
Elliot,
only
Go,
what'd you
Elliot.
steal?
The only thing that I can remember recently as an adult was at Home Depot. I was like self-checking out. And as I was walking, so I'd already paid and everything. And as I was walking out, I noticed that I didn't ring up one of like the liquid nail things. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to go. So was that stealing? Yes. But I wasn't like, I'm going to steal this.
True.
I just like stole it by that. So yes, I stole it, but it,
You're
it's
an
not the
honorable
first,
man,
it wasn't
Elliot.
a good one. Yeah. Sorry. It's one of my,
Okay, Drew, you have a juicy one?
Can we close with this question? I think it's a
We
good
sure
question.
can.
It's
Yep.
also Texas related.
Okay.
So in Texas, I had this conversation about like that there's just taco places everywhere. That's the food at around every corner. There's a different place that you can get tacos. And the weightlifting crew that I was talking to, they're like, "What's the equivalent up in New Hampshire?" And I kind of thought it was like, like pastry coffee shop type of thing. Everyone's got a coffee shop or pastry shop type of place. So the question is, would you rather have tacos available for every meal or pastry and coffee available for every meal? But that's it. You can't deviate from your choice.
so it's either tacos, but I can no longer have coffee. So I have to give up coffee for tacos.
Yes. But Texas tacos, which are delicious.
I'm going coffee and pastries all day. No question about it. Not a chance. Every meal? Yeah. I can only do tacos for dinner.
Wait, like I can make my own coffee. It's just everywhere around is tacos or
The
or
availability of
pastry.
coffee and pastries is gone.
This is a
and
big
you
thing.
only
If I have to give up
access to
coffee for the
tacos.
rest of my life, I'd rather have
It's a
tacos everywhere.
non-starter.
Tacos everywhere.
But we can say, like, put an asterisk next to it and say, if you had to give up coffee for the rest of your life, you would choose the coffee. If you didn't, you'd do tacos and make your own coffee.
I'm underwhelmed by this question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was hoping for something like extremely.
Drew, when is it okay to kill
risque.
somebody?
Oh, great question, Drew.
I'm not answering that one.
Do you think it's ever okay to kill somebody?
Where do you stand on the death penalty, Drew?
No,
Where
not
do
the
I
death.
stand on the death penalty?
No, not the
Just
death
kidding.
penalty.
I'm kidding.
I think the death penalty should be abolished. But that's like really,
What about the baby
politicized.
in Shannon's belly? When would you be comfortable killing that?
Oh my God.
Okay, the lies being spread.
Shannon is not pregnant. We're just keeping
but
on
like,
that. I hope
it's
people
like
understand.
this is one of those things that I will go back, we'll listen back on it, and be like, oh ha ha, because you will have jinxed me.
And it could be in there just.
Yeah.
So Drew, let's get an answer.
Is it okay to kill someone?
When is it okay to
when
kill
is it
somebody?
If
okay
it's
to
an
kill
accident, when it's an accident, when it's a genuine accident. I know somebody who
Is it okay to kill someone?
killed someone in an accident. It's okay.
It's not okay to kill someone. There are situations in which I have found my mind wandering and thinking, I could justify this. Not that it would be okay, but I could justify it.
Would you save 150-year-olds by killing one 4-year-old?
Ooh.
Randomly, 50 just boom, dead.
150-year-olds versus one 4-year-old.
But if I killed the other 50-year-olds, I'd save the 4-year-old. So
Right.
so you're bringing in an element of choice here, which is really interesting. But I'm gonna throw this back to you, and I'm not gonna answer your question because I would say like that
Sounds honorable. Sounds honorable. Okay, I'm glad you're playing along.
I think we can put this out to the viewers for some good conversation.
Only Jackie made it this far
at the gym. That's fine. Jackie can listen and give her opinion. So if you, let's say you're on a trolley, this is a trolley scenario. It's a moral compass type of thing, or moral question, ethical question. You're on a trolley that's lost control of all systems, and it's on a track. You can hit a button and it's going to, if you don't hit this button, it's going to continue straight, and it's going to run into 5 people that are on the track. If you hit this button, it's going to deviate from the course and only hit 2 people and kill 2 people. What is the moral or ethical thing to do? I hope I phrased that story correctly. I think I did.
Is there any way I could get all 7?
No way you can get all 7. It's either 2 or 5.
The conundrum is that do you actually intervene and become part of the situation, or do you just let the trolley roll where it was destined to?
That's right, because if you choose to hit the button, then you're choosing which people that you're killing. It's an interesting conundrum.
So which one would you do, Drew?
It's an ethical question. I don't know. I think initially I said, and I still think I would press the button. But there's more ethical questions that we can get into at a later time.
I think I would press the button.
Why do difficult questions make you uncomfortable, Drew? Why do difficult questions make you uncomfortable?
I don't think they make me uncomfortable.
You start to get very dodgy.
No, that's true. I'm not uncomfortable.
I think it's hard to take a stance on things today and like be able to just say where you are right now and like welcome that you might learn more, but people get so attacked for where they stand right now.
But what type of person are we okay with associating with? What type of person that would judge Drew on his opinion of an ethical question right now? I think more likely if it was a real scenario and that happened, I would hope that more people would have compassion, especially if it was a split decision. Like if he had 15 seconds and regardless of what choice he made, it's like, okay, well then you get on a train and pick. You know what I mean? And even if he picks the 5 people, it's like, okay, well then explain your logic then in that ethical situation.
It's just it's an impossible situation.
Who's going to crucify Drew for this question? Like what type of person would be like, you know what, Drew, you're wrong. You're supposed to kill the 5.
That's a nice idea.
Well,
but
I was talking about difficult questions.
The ethics part.
You were talking about that. Yeah.
You're adding in all of this other outside external stuff.
But that's why you're not answering, because you're afraid of.
I answered. I said I pressed the button.
And you asked him why he gets so squeamish for difficult questions, and I was saying I just think difficult questions in general right nowadays are hard to dig into because people are looking for a reason.
Unless it's the ethics around blood doping, and then he's okay with doing that.
I'm out.
I'm okay with saying where I'm at on blood doping. And where I'm at is we should all be blood doping.
Wrap it up here because I'm going to say something that I'm going to regret.
Oh, no.
Yeah, okay. yeah. Do it.
Whoa. Maybe not regret. Let's just. Do you mean it, though? Is it
close
true?
The show. Shannon's already said that she's in agreement with blood doping.
Today. All right, Drew. We'll let you send off We'll let you end the show. Let me make you.
If you want to watch this episode and learn about people's true feelings about blood doping and supplements, I'm giving you the intro. This is supposed to be the outro. What are we talking about next time? I don't know. If you made it this far, congratulations. Wow. You've done a fantastic job listening to the Dauntless Podcast. This was a very flustered episode, and I apologize for my technological difficulties and the internet. If you like our show, please hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And feel free at any time to become one of our sponsors, just like Cardio Club and Barbell Club on Sunday mornings.
I agree with Shannon that we should probably start professionalize these, except for the one she says leaves more to be desired because it's so corporate. It's a corporate way of saying it's shitty. Just say it's shitty.
Why are you always coming after me for the corporate stuff?
Just say it's shitty. You're the business
owner here.
Just say it's shitty. Because it's cloak and daggers.
I'm just trying to be prudent.
Oh.
And also friendly.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.